What is up, NWAS? This is Mythic Emperor here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind chapter. So, yeah, let's get started. First, I want to show you the major cities, and basically the good and bad that comes with them. So first we're starting out in, obviously, Satanin. No, I'm not going to be, walking the whole time, of course, but yes, so obviously this is a very faithful representation of Satanin and Morrowind, and I've played a lot of Morrowind. It's probably my favorite Elder Scrolls game. But yeah, I've pretty much done all of the major quests between this and the PTS, the closed beta. I've done all of the, major quest lines, and most of the minor ones as well. But yes, there's not much to say about this place, except that it's very nostalgic, which is obviously what they're going for. You have the lighthouse over here, Fargoth tree is still alive, and yeah, there's not much else to say. Now I'm going to be showing you the way shrines. So there's one small issue I have. All across, but this is the same for every zone really. It's not a big deal, it's just very nitpicky, but the way shrines are all the same. Even in, like the Telvanni lands, they should have some sort of fungal growth. That's just nitpicky. Speaking of Telvanni lands, that's what I'm going to show you next. I'm going to show you Sadrith Mora, which is my favorite town, or my favorite city in Morrowind and ESO as well, because I'm a huge fan of House Telvanni. And we're back. The loading screen is done, and we're in Sadrith Mora. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, which is rather unfortunate, is that the Telvanni town, the fungal growth, is on top of stone foundations, which, while it's supported in one book called Before the Ages of Man, I believe, about how the ancient Aldmer built settlements and towers across the eastern coast of Vvardenfell in the Merethic era, but there's no evidence or any proof in the lore that these were turned into Telvanni towers. So, also, the fungal growth is rather ugly. It would be better if it was a brownish color. Those are my two major nitpicks, and also no cephalopod helmets. But yeah, let's go look in the inside of Tel Naga, just so you can see. The inside is glorious. Let me get rid of that effect, it's going to be kind of annoying. And this is Tel Naga. It's truly beautiful. It's everything, everything you could ask for, in my opinion. And what's even cooler, as you saw that guy right there, levitation. Oh yeah, levitation is here. Not in its full glory like in Morrowind, but it is here. So, yeah, that's... Also, the quest lines are very fun for the DLC, or not DLC, but the chapter. The quest lines, they take you all across Vvardenfell, and they're just fun. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they are really enjoyable, even though every pro pretty much has a con to go with it, and the con with that is there are not many choices. You're forced to have a certain point of view on every quest line. You can't play the bad guy. You always have to play the hero in these quests. Sometimes, this character isn't particularly a good guy. If this was D&D, he'd be neutral evil. And it's kind of annoying having to play the good guy all the time. But, there it goes. Yeah, also we're going to show you the houses as well later on. But, no, that's Sadrith Mora. So, overall, very good town. Most of the buildings are accessible, which is more than you could say for Balmora, or Balmora if you're going to pronounce it the way they said it in ESO, but I still pronounce it Balmora. And here we go, we're going off to Balmora. And here we are in Balmora. Really, really beautiful. A lot more trees and just life in the city than is in Morrowind. And there's the Odai River right there, which unfortunately doesn't run, if the map will load, it doesn't run quite as far as it should. There's a drawbridge up here somewhere in Morrowind. It's not quite as far, but it gets the job done, I suppose. Yeah, here's the bridges, which are different but still very nice. And here's the main nitpick. While this town is very beautiful and nostalgic, most of the buildings are inaccessible. The majority of these buildings are locked and you can't enter them, which is really, really, really frustrating. But if you're just looking at the town, the actual designers did a great job. Now what I'd like to see here are just, even if the interiors are copy-pasted, they're just slightly different. I'd rather have that than not be able to enter them at all, and they could be really good for stealing stuff. So yeah, textures aren't loading, now they're loading. But overall, it looks beautiful. It's just unfortunate, very unfortunate that you can't enter all of them, or even most of them. Yeah, that's Balmora, and I suppose next we could go to Vivec, which is probably my second favorite city, I'd say, even if it's incomplete, and you'll see what I mean. Here we are in Vivec City, home of the warrior poet Vivec himself. And this city is, in my mind, a prime example of lazy game design. And let me tell you why. Was it really necessary that the majority of the cantons here, the majority of these cantons are under construction? Is that really necessary? Oh, load. But there we go. You could only access St. Dylan's, St. Olm's, the Temple Canton, and Vivec's Palace. But the Telvanni Canton, the other cantons in the Foreign Quarter, they're all inaccessible. You can't access them. They're all under construction. So there's two reasons I could think of. One, they wanted to make it, like Orsinian, where it's under construction, but if they're going to go this route, then the route they did, they should have made it where the city gets built. At least one canton gets built during the main quest line. Otherwise, it's just, infinite, incomplete progress, and it's kind of annoying, I really wanted to go into Telvanni Canton, being a Telvanni myself. Also, it's just, I feel like they did it to kind of skip having to build all these interiors, because the cantons there are really, really beautiful. They have lots of detail, especially in the architectural designs, which I'll show you in a second. But overall, the actual cantons that are done are amazing. I just wish there were more of them. The bard music they added is just flawless. St. Olm's. Look at this intricate details. They tell a story, and it's just really amazing what they've done. Just all these little designs that weren't present in Morrowind. This is something that they've improved upon from Morrowind. A lot of things were better in Morrowind, but this is one thing I could say is better than it was in Morrowind, is the detail in the cantons. And there's a bard there, singing away. And now I'm going to show you Vivec himself, because why not? The singing is just amazing. It's just really unfortunate you can't see all of the cantons. Or the ziggurats, as they're sometimes referred to in ESO. Could have gone that way, but it's alright. Also, something that kind of bothers me is the room with all of the shrines. Not up here, but the room with all of the shrines, all the saints, is blocked off, and you can't enter it, which is kind of annoying, but, I mean, what are you going to do? What is cool is you have shrines to the tribunal here, which is pretty cool. And of course, you have the glorious statue of Vivec killing a Shulk. We needed that. We needed to know that he could kill a Shulk, which is really, really good to know. But yeah, another thing they've improved upon since Morrowind, if the textures will load properly, is the actual temple itself. It is so much taller and just feels more monumental. In Morrowind it was kind of short, but of course Morrowind's Vivec was fully built, so it's better overall. But the things that are done are better individually, if that makes any sense. You have the buoyant armigers, which of course they float because they're buoyant, and even the doors tell a story. And I've already completed this quest line, but yeah, here's Vivec himself, the living god. Now I'm going to be showing you each of the player houses added, including Telgallen, which is not yet released. So this is the St. Dylan penthouse, and while it is quite small, it has, all the intricate designs as the rest of Vivec City is, so it's really nice all in all. It's just simple, small, but it gets the job done, and it looks pretty nice. Here we have the Old Velothi Harbor House, which is in the style of House Veteran, and it has a nice sizable yard for the price, which, by the way, is 322,000 gold, so not bad for the price, and 4,000 crowns. And yes, I'm going to show you unfurnished, that way you can kind of get an idea of what you could do with the place, you know, without anything impeding on it. So you have a little bit of room around on this side, but it's not much. You can't really do anything with it, but it's there nonetheless. And there are several doors. You have a small area that could act as a stable or a shed of sorts. And yeah, same on this side. Not much room, but you have a little bit. It's better than nothing, I suppose. Then the inside is actually quite nice for a house of this price. So you start out here, and this is a pretty sizable room in itself. Of course, you could probably wall off sections with various bricks and such. There's a side room here, which is actually, you know, is sizable too. The whole house as a whole, it's very nice in size, even if it is a veteran suite house. And if you go upstairs, you have plenty of room here to do some things. You have plenty of room up here to do some things. You know, you can have a bedroom. You have this strange shelf system, which is kind of unfortunate. You can't use this room for something else, but it's there. And you have the harbor balcony, which I'll show you quickly. And so it gives you a nice room, you know, view of the Daedric rune over there, and the Dwemer rune on that side. There's even a dock down there, which is why it's called the harbor house. So yes, overall nice size, and I'm going to show you the below the ground portion very quickly. I do not get stuck on the stairs. It has a nice curvature to these stairs, which is pretty nice. And you still have, you know, enough room down here to make into a basement or an evil lair or whatever you want to do, filthy veteran. And I'm going to show you the Halalu Goldpincher house, which is aka the Maya Lake Lodge. So yeah, be right. Only the most filthy and corrupt House Halalu Swits can afford a house of his size and stature, and if you buy this, you're probably one of them. So please feel guilty. If you couldn't tell, I'm not a fan of the Evergreat houses. I'm a Telvanni man myself. So you have a storehouse, which I'm going to show you very quickly, and you know, just a storehouse is the size of a small to maybe, just a small, you know, regular house. So that's enough room in there for a house in of itself. And you have a very nice bridge, even if it is Halalu, and yes, a very, very, very large yard with a sort of stable there for your mounts. Plenty of mushrooms, which are quite lovely. And you have a well. Somewhat broken fence here, which is kind of out of place, honestly. It doesn't really fit in with the whole nice, rich theme. But yeah, there's another exit, and this house is pretty close to Suran, it's close to Vivek, and it's close to Sedanin, and even Balmora. So, you know, it's nice centered between some major towns, which is pretty nice location, you know. As I say, and you know, when it comes to houses, you know, location, and this is a nice location, so that's a plus. The inside, however, is probably the main attraction because it is massive. It's just expansive. While the rooms themselves aren't quite as large as the Veteran house, there are many, many more. So you start out there. Oh, you have some room back there, probably, you know, Harry Potter styled, you know, room under the stairs if you want. And massive room here. And another room in here, which is also very large. So you have plenty of room to play around with, and this isn't all of it even. Which, even if that was all of it, it'd probably still be worth the, how much is it? 1,300,000 or 7,000 crowns, which is very expensive, but considering what you're getting, it's, you know, really nice. Another Harry Potter wannabe. The stairs, you have a, you know, just a nice balcony you could look over, and, you know, Dwemer Ruin over there. Just a very nice view, which is really nice. And I don't know how many times I've said nice, but it doesn't matter. And this is the inside of the upper level. Plenty of room again. Plenty of room. at another door, and another balcony, which is nice. And you know, you don't want to fall off to your death here, which you can probably fall off to your death, maybe if you're not careful. Let's try it. You know, do Assassin's Creed style parkour, leap of faith, and get injured, break your legs. It's great. It's all fun. Now I'm going to show you the best house, in my clearly unbiased opinion, Telgalen. Here we come. And here we are, in Telgalen itself. With some scenic lighting, and a hobbit hole-styled door. You have some nice prison cell-esque windows. You know, what's not to love? So you have a nice view of the rocky coasts of Vvardenfell in the east. And here's a very nice map showing you all the area you have. You have this entire area here, and you have this dock, which I'm about to show you. And also, this is not up for sale yet, but it will be someday, and it will likely be crown store only. That's just speculation. Over there, you have a very, very nice view of Sadrith Mora. So, you know, if you're a true Telvanni like me, this is the house you're going to want to get as soon as it comes out. And, you know, by the time you're watching this video, it might already have come out. In that case, you need to buy it. You just need to buy it. It doesn't matter if it's 500 trillion crowns, you need to buy this place, because it's great. So I'll show you the inside of a tower in a minute. And there are some cons, believe it or not, to this wonderful tower. This wonderful, amazing, amazing tower. There are some cons, though, and I'm going to get to that. But here we have a very nice, just lake. Well, not lake, but, you know, ocean, basically, with a dock. And first I'm going to show you over here. You could go all the way this way, and you have plenty of room for a nice, lovely picnic. And, yes, I'm going to show you how far you could swim without getting eaten by the slaughterfish. And over there is the, if you look on the global map, that's the eastern coast of Morrowind, and over here is Port Telvanni's, of course. But yeah, so this is pretty good place to put a ship if you want to travel, you know, to the eastern coast to see the other Telvanni lands. Once that comes out, you know, of course it's not going to come out for years probably, because we just had a Morrowind chapter. But you know, someday, you know, someone could drink it. And, yeah, let's see if we get eaten by slaughterfish. Still swimming, still no slaughterfish. And also, if you're wondering why my mind-shriven skin is a little bit buggy looking, I'll tell you about that bug in a minute when I get to the cosmetics. Oh, slaughterfish, gonna die. Okay, yep, you could go pretty far though, so that's nice. And also, this house is on an island. You know, who wouldn't want to live on an island? It's probably very fortified. You know, you have natural walls, plus man-made walls, or mermaid walls in this case. Not to be confused with the sea creatures. And some nice lanterns, which is always a plus. And let's get into the meat of this, not actually meat, but fungal tower. Telgalen Tower, here we go. So as you could see, this is very reminiscent of the interior of Sadrith Mora, Tel Naga, but on a smaller scale, which is good. I would have liked it to be a little bit larger, but it's still good, you know. It's all good. And so here's the cons, right? The tower itself, I'm going to show you up here. First of all, they don't have... Oh, they added levitation animation. Last I checked, that levitation animation wasn't in yet. It was just a portal animation, but they fixed that, so that's good on sauce. Thank you. But, yeah, the tower is not as vertical as it should be. It's a tower. You know, the, Redoran house is not a tower, it's a bug shell. Well, not really made out of bug shells, because they, all those insects went extinct from House Redoran. But they, you know, mimic bug shells. And that has more verticality, you know, to that building than this tower, which is a Telvanni tower. So that's kind of sad, which is unfortunate, but it still at least has an upper floor, which is nice. What it should have done is made all the floors, which I'm about to show you. They should have made all of these floors, all these rooms on each side, all three of them, parts, like different levels of a tower, to make it feel really tall and massive. But they stuck them on the side, which honestly doesn't really make sense, because I don't think there's that much room on the outside. I don't think the exterior corresponds with the interior, but it's alright. You know, it's Telvanni magic. You know, it's a TARDIS, okay? Telvanni TARDIS right here. And these rooms are kind of small, but, you know, they'd make nice bedrooms, or, you know, evil lair for, like, necromancy or something, if you're, you know, that kind of evil mage like my character is. And here's the workshop. I shouldn't say what kind of workshop. It's unfortunate that they have, you know, they named each of the rooms, so you kind of are pigeonholed into, you know, doing something certain, but it's not that bad, you know. Workshop isn't very specific, you know. It could be, I don't know, there are many, you know, different things you could kind of do and still fit the bill as far as the name goes. And here's the other suite. I know I'm just kind of going fast, but there's not too much to see in these rooms. They're very similar, so this one would be pretty good for a bedroom because, you know, you have some kind of natural fungal canopy, which is always cool. And yeah, this is Telgallen. And here I am in my main warden, here Hlalu, which obviously the name was taken from Coda by Michael Kirkbride, but as we said, on the point. So I'm going to do a quick review of the skill lines, and take it with a grain of salt, because obviously I'm only level 16. I've only been playing it when I was grinding to get the 6 house robes. So yeah. I've mostly done the animal companions skill tree, and from what I've done so far, it's pretty fun. You know, shooting cliff racers at people is just really funny. Green balance, I haven't done much, so I can't say anything. I've done a little bit of Renter's Embrace, and it's cool from what I've seen. You know, get it? Cool. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Warden. I can't say whether it's overpowered or underpowered or how it performs in game. I could just say it's fun so far when I'm leveling with it. And so now I'm going to show you the different cosmetic, you know, apparel you could get from this chapter. So there are no hats, no hairstyles. There are head markings over, and you can see I'm already wearing the Morag Tong one. This character is supposed to be a Morag Tong agent, and this is the Buoyant Armiger one, which, if you wear it at the same time as the Mind-Shriven skin, it messes up the Mind-Shriven skin and makes it all splotchy, which hopefully that'll be fixed, and I don't want to do on this character. I've done it on my main, unfortunately, and it kind of ruins the way it looks, so hopefully that'll be fixed soon. And if it is fixed, then good, by the time you're watching this. But yeah, then you have the body markings, which you have the Buoyant Armiger basically does the same thing in the body, and I shall show you that. Let's take the costume off, and I'll show you what it looks like. So yeah, that's what the marking looks like. Actually, kind of reminds me of the 6th house, but there you go. That's the Morag Tong, and body marking. I'll show you what the Buoyant Armiger looks like with the head marking. It looks pretty cool. You know, gives you a Vivek-esque appearance, which is obviously what they're going for. And costumes. I'm going to show you the... you've already seen the Regalia of the Scarlet Judge. Let me turn off hide helmet. You've already seen the Regalia of the Scarlet Judge, but that's what it looks like with the helmet. And it's like the Treasure Hunter helmet, basically, from the old costume that was long since discontinued. But that's where that's from. And also, I farmed and I got the 6th house robe, which is really good for an evil mage character. It has lots of small, intricate details all over the robe. It's kind of hard to see in this light. And you have the Telvanni Magister personality. Isn't that awesome? Only peasants read one book at once. So overall, what I have to say about this, you know, chapter, expansion, whatever you want to call it, I think it's pretty fun. I mean, you have hours and hours of story, quests, you have interesting NPCs, the quests are fun, some of them have choices, some of them aren't, you know, as heavy on decisions, which is unfortunate, but overall, they're all fun, and, you know, you really get a lot out of them. Okay, so what I have to say about the lore. I feel like they've really bent the lore of, you know, the Elder Scrolls series and this. Well, of course, they've really bent the lore in the base game too, but this is no exception. You know, you have, of course, they've made up lore reasons for it, but, you know, Satanin looks exactly the same as it does in, you know, Elder Scrolls 3. and they've completely changed the way the Telvanni towers look, which they don't look as nice as they do in Morrowind or even Skyrim Dragonborn DLC. They're much better in both of those, in my opinion. You know, they've done some weird things with House Lalu, making them not as prominent, but that kind of does make sense because of the lack of Imperial presence, but still. And yeah, overall, it's, you know, the lore is not terrible, but it's not the best that they've written for this. And the main quest line is very, very fun. I advise you to, you know, try it out, especially if you're a Morrowind fan, or if you've done the Tribunal DLC from Morrowind, because you get to go to Clockwork City. No spoilers, but you get to go to Clockwork City, and it's awesome. And final thoughts, I think that this is the best, you know, add-on to the game that there's been. In fact, I think this is the best zone in the entire game. No other zone compares. I know I haven't done much on this character, but this is, you know, obviously just level 16, so no other zone in the game compares, in my opinion. It's the most fun I've had playing ESO. Even when it's many cons, it's still better than any base area. Cliffstrider song. Yes, I guess we're gonna end it off with a song. Thunder, may you never die. May you never die. Never, never.